So who's your tonal model for lead playing?
So, you know, for lead playing, I mean, I feel kind of lucky now because I get to sit next to these guys, you know, sometimes. But, you know, whenever I was in high school, I mean, I studied with Wayne, you know, and, I mean, obviously Wayne sounds amazing. You know, Dan Finero sounds, I just went and saw Life of Pets, you know, and it's Dan Finero all over it, just destroying it, you know. You know, I mean, I get to sit next to Bijan Watson a lot, you know, my fellow Stomby bro, and, like, I mean, it's pretty hard to say that you don't do it that way. You know, I mean, he kills it. So those are the you know, the guys I kind of grew up listening to, and I get to play with now, which that's a lot of fun. And obviously there's a bunch of guys, you know, I mean, Rick Baptist, you know, all these guys, Roger Ingram. But you know, I also, you know, I spent a lot of time whenever I was at North Texas listening to the Basie Band and listening to, you know, old style swing. You know, so you're listening to Conrad and you're listening to Al Porcino, you know, and you know, you're listening to Snooki, you know, guy like Snooki, you know, you're listening to these cats that are just, you know, it was all about feel, it was all about time, you know, like, I mean, you know, we get so caught up, it seems, we get so caught up in like high notes and low notes and notes, and we always talk about range and all this stuff, you know, and yes, it's very, like, I mean, you know, I want to play high notes, I love playing high notes, right, but when it comes down to it though, it's, the basis of music is time and feel. Right, and so what I do is I try to listen to guys who I feel like their time and their feel and their sound is locked in, you know, and then at that point if they can play high notes, that's just an extra added bonus, you know. But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, I'm still going back and listening to, like, you know, I'm still going back and listening to like It Might As Well Be Swing, Sinatra, and just listening to Porcino just own that record, you know. I mean, I'm still going back and listening to Sinatra at the Sands. I'm still going back and listening to all that old, like, Neil Hefti stuff, and you know, and just the swing and the time and the feel, and I mean, I'm all about that, you know. So when it comes down to it, in the end, no matter what I go back and, like, base my tonal model off of, it always comes back to how's their time, how's their feel, how's their sound, and if that's good, then I'll listen to anybody, you know. But those are the first three things.
You mentioned Bijan Watson, your Stomby bro.
Yep.
And I know that you guys on Instagram often use the hashtag Stomby Bros.
Yeah,
Is it BROS?
BROS, Stomby Bros.
Who came up with that idea?
I think it was Bij. You know, Bij I think was the first guy to say the term, and then he was probably the first guy to hashtag it too. I think he started it, and then you know, and then it just kind of took off from there. You know, like, I mean, and there's a crew of us here in town. You know, like Bij and Javi and me and Eric Jovel. You know, I mean, those are guys I work with a lot. You know, that I mean, we play exclusively Stomby gear. You know,
and what brought you to the Stomby gear? In other words, what did you hear?
I think the first and foremost. So I remember Bij. The first time I sat down and really played with Bij, I remember he was playing on a master, I think, and you know, and he was getting this crazy sound out of it, you know, and then I remember Forrest Powell, who was working here at the time, and he kind of, like, hit me. He's like, "Oh, you should come up to the shop and, like, talk to Kayla." And I said, "Okay," you know, I was kind of in this, like, weird flux of gear for a little bit, you know, where, like, the stuff I've been playing on, like, forever, you know, and it was at that point of where, like, this was before I really knew how to take care of my stuff too, you know. So it was way out of date, you know. And I remember coming up, and I think the first thing I tried was one of the horns, you know. And you know, Forrest had been talking about it, and Eric Jovel had just gotten the VR2 lightweight, and Javi had just gotten the VR2 lightweight, and I had tried those, and I really liked them. I was like, wow, this is, like, maybe the most, like, free blowing horn I've ever played on, you know, where everything just kind of was in tune and I didn't have to work a lot on it, you know. So I remember I came up and I remember trying horns and just being like, man, this is great, you know. And so I remember saving up the money, you know, and trading in a horn, you know, and buying the horn. And I think I remember you remarking I was like the first guy to go that route, or one of the few where I bought the horn before the mouthpiece, you know. And so I remember I was playing on the VR2, and I had a copy of Charlie Davis's 3-rim with an E cup, you know, and I was playing it, and you know, like, you know, I think I played the horn for like 6 months like that, and just loved it. It was great. And then all of a sudden, I I remember I was doing a rehearsal with Javier. That's right, and he shows up and he's got this new Stomby piece, and so I tried it and I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing, you know. And I came up here and I got that Charlie Davis one cut. That was the first thing that was the first mouthpiece I think I ever got. And I remember I got the Charlie Davis mouthpiece cut, and you put a new gap on it, and it just opened it up. I remember I was like, oh my god, this is amazing, you know. And then while I was here, I was like, well, let's try. You got something that's like this, you know. And I remember you gave me the YSLR J6, and I put that thing in, and it was just like, well, that's what I got to do, you know. And I'm pretty sure I think I threw my credit card down right away after that, you know. But yeah, so I mean, it was a lot of guys in town that had already been kind of playing the gear, and I was really kind of looking for a different place to go. And everybody that was playing on the gear in town sounded like amazing, you know. So it was pretty easy.
Did you get any pushback when you showed up on a gig or a session with Stomby gear?
Yeah, but you know, not like, I wouldn't say it was anything like, you know. It was mostly like, oh, you're playing, what are you playing there? You know, you're playing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm playing this Stomby VR2, and they're like, and everybody be like, oh, okay, cool, you know, you like it? And I was like, yeah, I like it, you know, it's great. And I mean, I don't know, I mean, I'm not like you know, I'm not like working like the classical scene a lot, you know. You know, most of my work is commercial. So there is sort of this like, you know, have your own sound kind of thing. You know, although, you know, do the studio work and stuff, so you know, you gotta you know, be able to blend for sure. But I personally have like no one's ever told me that like, oh, that horn doesn't blend, oh, that horn doesn't sound, oh, that horn doesn't work with what we're doing. I've never had that problem ever. So I mean I don't know. I've never really heard of anyone saying that about Stomby gear, and everybody I know that plays Stomby gear blends exceptionally well. So that I didn't get any pushback at all. In fact, if anything, I had people like, you know, people like, oh, you're playing a new horn, okay, cool, yeah, and then after the first tune going, wait, hey, what are you playing again? You know, like sort of more of almost this like inquiry about like, what is it, you know. And I mean, I've had a lot of guys to talk to, a lot of guys who have come up here and after, you know, they've heard it and I've let them try the gear, you know, of the way I have it set up, obviously, which we all know, get your gap fixed. Gap's the most important thing. But you know, and I'm a gap snob. I have to come out and say I have every coupler, and I remember I went to NAMM, just a short tangent. I remember I went to NAMM this last year, and I brought my mouthpiece and all of my couplers. Just so I could mess around and play horns. But I knew that I wouldn't be able to, you know, I had to get the guy. Anyways, so I, you know, after letting them play the gear and people kind of being like, oh, wow, you know, then other people come up too. And I think that's good. I think you know, the Stomby brand is sort of spreading, you know, as we move through. So, but yeah, I've never experienced anybody being like, oh, man, I can't believe you're playing that Stomby gear. And if anybody says anything, it's normally a joke, you know. But then it's not a joke once we play, hopefully, you know. Yeah.
So I've heard you play here quite a bit, and recently I got to hear you play with Trumpetology, which we'll get to in a moment. And the upper register seems very easy for you, not difficult. Was it always that way? Or
no, yeah. No, not at all. I mean, I've been, you know, I've battled like, I battled the range thing a lot for a long time, and I think it really took me a while to get certain aspects of my technique together, to really lock that in. You know, I always had, at North Texas I had like a really good like G, you know, and then that kind of like went away after I left there, and has come back now, and it's like very like, I feel very confident on my G and the A and stuff, but also I realized that like I really neglected like picking my gear a lot, you know, which I think, looking back in hindsight, it's like, oh man, I wish I would have spent more money, I wish I would have done, you know, been more aware of what I was buying, you know, and didn't just take somebody's word for, oh, this is good gear and you should get it.
I can help you on the spending more money part.
Yeah, right. No. Well, after this, I'm going to buy 3 mouthpieces, so I have no qualms about it anymore, you know, but, you know, in terms of the high register though, everything really started coming in together in terms of just being able to get up to like double C's and D's and stuff. Not that I'm at the same level as like Javier and Beige, who are just like have that stuff on lock, which is, I mean, those two guys, man, when they play double C, it's just like, well, that's how you do that, you know. I mean, I can get one out and I can, it's workable. It's not, but it's not like that. But in terms of the high range, just in general, I mean, I spent a lot of time getting that together because I knew it had to be. As a lead player, as a commercial player, you gotta be able to have at least a G. And now, because of Wayne, like Wayne screwed us all. He's got such a great double A that now you gotta have a good double A, right? Because everybody hears it happen, and it's just like, I mean, and he plays it so flawlessly and effortlessly that now we all, we kind of got to be there as well, which is great, because I have what I feel is a really good A now, but the gear really changed that, and I really noticed not only range but just general technique, sound, intonation, and just ease of playing really changed once I switched to the gear, and that really helped, and so I'll come back. I mean, the gap just is. I mean, I wish I would have known. I can't imagine how many thousands of dollars I've spent on mouthpieces and then been like, well, this doesn't work. When realistically, the gap was just slightly off, So, yeah, I mean, high register, a lot of air, wrap your legs around the chair and, hope you don't black out, I guess,
Right.